How you doing?
Hi.
How can I help you?
I just got a quote for is this for
Luggage storage?
yeah,
Did you need for multiple days or just today?
just today. A couple hours. Well,
Okay, well, we close at 8. So we charge $10 per check-in bag and $6 per carry-on.
Are these considered carry-on, or are these
Yes, those are carry-on.
so these are carrying. What about the
That's a carry-on as well.
carrying? So is that 8?
Here you go.
So we have to pick it up before 8, you said?
Yes, sir.
By any chance, we were to miss
We can't get.
Well, you can always get your bags. It's just that it's $125 extra.
Oh yeah. You want to think of it?
Alright, you just a second.
Yeah. Sorry. You want that?
Okay, take your time.
Yeah.
We got all day, right? How you doing?
Alright, so got myself in a little bit of a problem.
Need to leave some luggage?
Well, I can't check it until 4:15. Flight's at like 7 in the night.
Okay.
So what I wanted to do was go up to the Admiral's Club where I can work, get Wi-Fi and power, and then come back and get the gear. I'll have to re-screen, but that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Well, we charge $10 per check-in bag, $6 per carry-on, and we close at 8 p.m.
Well, I'll be back here about 3:45 or so.
Okay. Awesome. So, let's get started. Terrified?
The AI is having a real nasty tendency right now to be biased and programmed by people who have agendas.
Oh yeah, evil people.
I don't think we'll like Google.
It can do more harm than good.
Right now, they are doing more harm than good because the people that are pushing the technologies are pushing political agendas, not pushing what should be the agenda, which is how do we use the technology and leverage it, of course, in a proper way.
Yeah, help people, but we're not in the business of helping people, right?
Well, those companies aren't in one sense, and it's going to hurt them because what that's going to do is it's going to push one way or the other for regulation. Once you get the lawyers involved, because that's what's in most legislators and in Congress, nothing is going to happen that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's just a rabbit hole nonsense, right?
Yeah, I mean, the problem with technology is not technology, it's the use of it. And
look at the human heart, the human condition. You know, it's like
you're not changing that.
Yeah.
I mean, these people that actually truly believe, and I know a few, that one day we're all going to link hands and send Kumbaya over fire. No, let me tell you how this works. We're all going to be fighting each other in a street brawl, and the only light we're going to have is from the dumpster fire we said earlier. That's how.
Man, we have you on a podcast or something, man. Yeah.
I'm actually about to launch one. I think colleagues and takes a 1 second teachers are going to get out. But the challenge is comes down to, first of all, do you believe that you should be responsible for your own life, be able to make decisions and deal with consequences, or do you want somebody else to tell you what to do?
Yeah.
And That's been history.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of younger people in this generation, they trust technology too much, and they get the information from that technology, and they don't ever confront themselves with something they may or may not agree with, so they can process that, walk through what's known as a rhetorical
Yeah, it's all about control, and it's a war of ideology.
That's exactly what it is.
So-
It's absolutely wrong.
So it's just like, what is it going to look like when the dust settles after this ideology war? What is the world going to look like? That's the question, right?
Well, we get one of two choices. We're either going to have, at least in this country, a beacon of freedom, or we're going to have nothing but worldwide tyranny. Because there's no place else. I mean, what we have in America, better or worse, like it or not, there's no other place like it. Every other place in the world, you
That's
don't
true.
have, you say something they don't like, you're gone.
Oh, yeah.
And I've been in some of those places. I've been in places where, even some in Europe, where if you say certain things, so
You're phone.
and the bigger problem is, and this is a worldwide, basically some Chinese thing.
Right? For technology.
For everything.
Because I think of China as like old people, and like because their birth rates are going down, right? But I also look at the United States population where we have like 300 some million people, but the rest of the world they're having kids like crazy. So whatever their ideology, they're gonna own America. That's my conspiracy.
The Chinese have a mission, and that is to dominate the world with their culture, with their government.
Science, government.
And the way China works, for example, if you're walking around and you're carrying a cell phone with your WeChat app, the phone you get, and you've done some things the government doesn't like, your cell phone emits a sound. Everybody knows the sound, and that's a sound of someone who is on the naughty list. You know, your social credit score is too low. So what happens is people get away from you. You ostracize
You got a 1 star on your forehead.
Yeah, exactly. Or the scarlet letter, if you go back to the often. Same principle. And now you're ostracized. It makes something sad. I know people that grew up in the Soviet Union.
Hey, you just disappear.
Yeah, and just one friend of mine's father, I grew up. Second, he fought in the Polish Underground. He was a spy for the Americans. He worked with Army intelligence, got citizenship that way. And when the wall fell, he got to go back and see relatives he had not seen in 40 years. And what was interesting, he brought home a picture of himself holding his death warrant that was already signed. So had he gone back to Poland prior to the fall and they caught him, he would have been summarily executed.
Torture, execute, whatever.
Not torture, just killing.
Okay.
He was just trying to say. So because he spied for
Not gonna pull a Japanese on me.
Yeah. So it's and a lot of young people, you seem to be fairly educated, a lot of young people are not.
Well, I think right now we're in a world of I am God. So
Yeah, there's a problem.
so like I make the rules. So it's like that's a whole bunch of psycho stuff happens from that. So I don't know what you believe in, but I believe that where absolute truth is absolute truth. That's overcomes everything. So like punishing like other people, like putting other people down. That's just wrong, right? But you can say in your own heart, no, I believe that's wrong as well. But for the other guy, he believes that having them tied up in the basement and having his boot on their face, that's good. That's good for them.
The Chinese culture is one of the completely relativistic morality. They don't even have the concept of absolute truth.
That's more of like elites, though, right? It's like you get like this lower people that are just controlled, like hyper controlled, and like the elites that push whatever agenda.
Yeah, but they believe that the power to control, and their people in this country the same way. We've got an entire political party right now that's dominated by nothing really close to power.
I think we need more good people in power, like have power. I think power's not a bad thing. It's just who has it and who's seeking it. So who's seeking it is happening to be psychopaths.
Well, one of the things, if you really want to study an interesting man, and all people in history are flawed, you have to realize that. But George Washington is an interesting study from this standpoint. He understood. He was a very well-educated man. He was a very devout man. But he understood from his study of history and experience with all the things he did and went through, that anyone given power for a long period of time would get corrupted by it. That's the reason he stepped away. He could have. They originally wanted to make him king. He said, "No, we're not talking about kings. We just got rid of the king. We're not doing that." Then, when he became president, and really, what was the president? There was no. That was the first. but there hadn't been a president before.
Yeah.
So here's this concept of president, and he stepped away after 2 terms because he did not want to become corrupted by the power. And back then, the power of the president was far more limited than it is today. And then, of course, later there's constitutional amendment that made that not just made that a habit, but actually.
Yeah, so he realized it at that time.
Yeah, he understood that absolute power corrupts.
So he's a very self-aware man.
Very much so. And I tell people, even if you may not agree with some of his views religiously or whatever, he's an interesting study as an individual. Another one is Marcus Aurelius, who is one of the key components of what they call the Stoic philosophy.
What is that, like Rome time or something like that?
Yes, Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome. And at a very volatile time, he dealt with wars, he dealt with famines, he dealt with pretty much the same kind of times we're living now. There was one very strong demarcation, though. There's a very strong demarcation between Roman citizens and someone who's not. If you were a Roman citizen, you did have certain rights. Not that the emperor could just point to you.
But, I mean, everyone else is, of course, a second-class citizen.
Yes, very much so. But Marcus Aurelius wanted to approach his time as emperor, and he had absolute power of the most powerful nation on earth at that time. At least in the Western world, time had to fight back their act together on the step here. But when he was there, he really wanted to try to be a good and just ruler. He did not want to just do what he had seen and done.
He wanted a fair way of life.
He basically wanted to make sure that he observed the Stoic tradition of virtue. And that's the whole point of Stoicism, is that you are trying to live a virtuous life. Now, that word has different meanings in religious terms, especially among Christians.
Yeah.
What is considered virtuous
Yeah.
is a little different than what we consider virtuous in Rome. But the main point is the same. You're trying to live for an absolute ideal.
Yeah.
And he did this, and he wrote a book. It was actually his journal. He was one of those that journaled back in the day, and it's called Meditations. And it's just a number of things. It's kind of like reading the Psalm.
Marcus Aurelius.
Marcus Aurelius. And it really kind of goes through his journey.